A body is floating in the river. It belongs to a 16-year-old girl in a school uniform. Her name was Agnes. And on this quiet morning, in this quiet Korean town, the children playing on the riverbank are the ones who find her. The police come. The reporters come. And outside, one woman stands watching a mother collapse to the ground when she hears the news. That woman is Mija. She is 66 years old. She has just been diagnosed with the early stages of Alzheimer's, and she has no idea, not yet, that the girl in that river is connected to her own home. But she will find out, and what she does with that knowledge will be the most important decision of her life. Welcome to Asian Recap. This is Poetry, a 2010 Korean film that won Best Screenplay at Cannes. It's the story of a grandmother learning to see the world clearly for the first time, at the exact moment she discovers something about her own family she can never unsee. Mija lives simply. A small apartment, a government stipend, a part-time job caring for a wealthy elderly man who had a stroke and can no longer look after himself. It isn't glamorous work. But Mija shows up every time, always in a pretty outfit. Floral blouses, silk scarves, a wide-brimmed hat, as if she refuses to let the weight of her life show on the outside. Her daughter left years ago for Busan and left her teenage son, Young-wook, in Mija's care. He eats without looking up. He sleeps until noon. When Mija speaks to him, he doesn't answer. And Mija, she tolerates all of it, because he is all she has. The Alzheimer's diagnosis scares her, not loudly. Mija doesn't do anything loudly. She started forgetting ordinary words, words like electricity, words like wallet, words that should be automatic and suddenly aren't. She reaches for them mid-sentence and her hand closes around nothing. She laughs it off. She tells no one. Instead, she does something unexpected. She signs up for a poetry class. It meets at the local community center, run by a real poet who believes that poetry isn't about talent. It's about learning to truly see the world. At the very first session, he holds up an apple and asks his students, "Have you ever really looked at an apple? Not glanced at it, not eaten it. Really looked. The goal isn't to describe the apple, it's to feel what it means to hold one." Most people in the class nod politely and write it down. Mija goes home and stares at an apple for a very long time. She starts carrying a small notebook everywhere. She watches flowers. She stops on bridges to look at the water below. She sits under trees and listens to nothing in particular. She asks a neighbor once what they think a tree feels like from the inside, and the neighbor walks away, deciding the old woman has finally lost it. To most people around her, Mija looks eccentric at best, confused at worst. But Mija isn't escaping reality. She is trying, desperately, to hold on to it before her mind takes it away piece by piece. She is the most eager student in the class and she hasn't written a single word of poetry yet. Then, one of Young-wook's friend's fathers calls her. He says there's a meeting. He says it's important. She needs to come. The meeting is in a private room of a restaurant. 5 men, all fathers of teenage boys. They speak in low voices over takeout food with a practiced calm that makes everything worse. They are men who are used to problems being solved, quietly, efficiently, without scenes. And they tell Mija what her grandson has done. Agnes, the girl from the river, had kept a diary. In that diary, she wrote everything, every name, every date, everything that had been done to her by 6 boys over 6 months. Young-wook's name is in that diary. So are 5 others. The school knows. People at the school have read what's inside, but the information hasn't reached the police. Not yet. The fathers have a plan. Agnes's mother is a woman alone in the countryside, with no money and no power. They will offer her 30 million won, a settlement, in exchange for her silence. No police, no trial, no scandal. The boys go on with their lives, go to university, become the men their fathers imagine they will be. She listens to all of this, and then, without a word, she stands up and walks out of the room. Through the window, the fathers watch her crouch down outside in the garden next to the restaurant and begin writing in her little notebook. A confused old woman, distracted by a flower at a moment like this. But they're wrong about what they're seeing. Mija understood every word spoken in that room. She understood it perfectly. And from this moment on, every beautiful thing she tries to look at is going to be a little harder to see. Before we go further, if you want more films like this and to support our work, hit like and subscribe. Mija goes home and looks at Jong-wook differently now. He's still the same boy, eating without looking up, complaining about needing a new phone, sprawled on the couch. She tries to bring it up once. He rolls his eyes and turns back to his screen. Nothing in him suggests he is carrying anything at all. No guilt, no grief, no awareness that a girl is dead and her name is written in his handwriting. He treats the whole situation the way he treats his grandmother, as something to be ignored until it goes away. And Mija doesn't know what to do with that. She raised this boy. She cooked his meals and washed his clothes and gave up her own quiet life to keep him fed and housed. And now she is sitting across from him at the dinner table and she cannot find the right word. Not because of the Alzheimer's, but because there is no right word for what she is looking at. She keeps going to her poetry class. She keeps showing up at the elderly man's apartment. She keeps wearing her floral blouses and her silk scarves. But something has shifted underneath all of it, and she still cannot write a single poem. The fathers send her to the countryside. Agnes's mother needs to be convinced to accept the settlement, and Mija, as the least threatening person in the group, is chosen to deliver the message. One of the fathers drives her out there. She finds the woman working alone in the fields. And something strange happens. Instead of delivering the message, Mija starts talking about the weather, about the fruit on the trees, about how peaceful everything looks out here. Anything except why she's here. Agnes's mother, exhausted, grief-hollowed, ground down by weeks of loss, finds herself almost charmed by this odd woman in a sun hat who has appeared in her field. They talk warmly, like old neighbors. And then Mija says goodbye and turns and walks away. Halfway across the field, she stops. She knows exactly why she was sent here. She looks back at the woman still standing in the field. She lies to the fathers. Nobody was home. They don't push back too hard. She's a confused old woman. What can you do? Alone, she makes her way to the bridge where Agnes died. She stands at the railing and looks at the water below. A wind comes and takes her hat. It floats down to the surface of the river. She watches it drift away. She walks down to the bank and sits. She opens her notebook. She's at the place where the girl ended her life, and the page stays blank. She stays there a long time. Then she gets up and leaves. She attends the Requiem Mass for Agnes at a local church. In the lobby, there is a framed photograph of the girl, a school portrait, a 16-year-old in uniform smiling at the camera, a smile that knew nothing of what was coming. Mija picks it up. She takes it home. She places it in her apartment where she can see it every day. The deadline is approaching. They don't ask if she can pay. They ask when. Mija has no money. So she goes back to the elderly man's apartment. She had left after he made an unwanted advance toward her, but now she returns. She asks him for the money. He understands what she's really asking, and he pays. She takes it and leaves. That night, Mija delivers her share of the settlement to Agnes's mother. She pays what she owes. It is done. The same night, she makes 2 phone calls. The first is to her daughter in Busan. She tells her to come home and take care of her son. The second, she leaves enough for the truth to reach the police. The next morning is ordinary. Mija and Jong-wook are outside in the courtyard together. A car pulls into the courtyard. 2 men get out. Jong-wook understands immediately. He doesn't run. He doesn't argue. He walks toward them and gets in the car. Mija doesn't move. She doesn't call out his name. The last day of the poetry class arrives. Mija doesn't come. But on the table, at her usual seat, there's a small bunch of flowers and a single sheet of paper. She's the only student in the entire class who finished a poem. The teacher picks up the page and reads it aloud. The poem is called Agnes's Song. It is written in Agnes's voice, not Mija's. Mija gave her words to the girl who had none left. She wrote what Agnes never got to say, the beauty she had seen in the world before it turned against her, the longing she carried, the crossing of the final river. All the things Mija had been learning to see in her poetry class, flowers, water, light, the weight of an apple, she pressed them all into the voice of a dead girl and gave them back to her. It is the poem of a person who truly learned to look, not at beautiful things, at a painful thing, with full attention, without looking away. The film ends with Agnes herself, shown alive for the first time, walking through fields and down familiar streets as the poem plays over the images. She walks to the bridge. She looks at the river below. The poem ends. The screen goes still. We never see Mija again. We don't know where she went. We don't know what her final days looked like, or whether the words she'd been losing all year came back to her one last time as she sat down to write. All we have is what she left on that table, a bunch of flowers and a poem. The only student in the class who finished. There is a moment in this film, Mija at the riverbank, notebook open, staring at a page that won't fill, where you understand that she isn't trying to write something beautiful. She's trying to understand what it means to keep looking when everything around you is telling you to close your eyes. She paid the money. She made the call. She wrote the poem. 3 choices, none of them clean. Each one made quietly, without applause, without anyone watching. That is what poetry asks of us. Not to find beauty in life, but to keep looking for it even when it feels impossible. If this story stayed with you, there are more like it. Subscribe, and we'll find them together.